Good governance is critical in both the public and private sectors for the development of Africa and ensuring equal opportunities are provided to Africans. In Nigeria, one man who depicts accountability and integrity in leadership with a passion for transparency in governance to achieve sustainable systems is Dr. Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa. He formerly served as president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria and chairman CEO of Pfizer, with numerous years of experience in the pharmaceutical sector, public and private sectors. Today, we discuss good governance, leadership, and the reduction of corruption in Nigeria and across the continent. Doctor, thank you so much for speaking to me. It's an honor to sit down with you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure. Now, you have extensive experience in the public and private sector, and you're passionate about achieving parity and increasing accountability in governance in Nigeria and Africa. How exactly do we do this?
For me, the where to start is to see whether we can strengthen institutions. Because the whole system is set up to create oversight so that you are responsible to somebody. In Nigeria, in Africa, where I think we are missing it at the level first of the legislative as a segment, legislative arm of government. The legislative arm of government is supposed to have oversight and demand accountability from the executive.
Right.
But that accountability, that demand is completely non-existent. And that's what's driving the entire corruption. The executive that handles the purse, nobody checks them. If you give the purse to anybody without a check, the most righteous of men will still fall. So there are two things. If the legislature, we can get, I don't know whether they're angels, whether angels are possible, but men who go to that arm of government with the determination to change our country, they can cause it to change. First, they refuse to be incorruptible, they become incorruptible and refuse to be corrupted. Then they hold the executive accountable. They bring you a budget, you sign. You don't dissect the budget. First, the money we gave you last year, what did you do with it? Show us evidence. What you've done.
Right.
Then before you want to, and this one you're doing, you just give us 2 billion. What is that billion for? How did you arrive at this pricing? What quotes did you receive before you bring out this type of nonsense?
Right.
When they do it, they hold the executive accountable, and they are the ones. Then the moment they push up that notch of accountability, the executive that has the money will be forced to be accountable, because now when they give it to their operational public servants, who will spend the money,
Right.
because they know that the National Assembly will demand accountability, they will make them accountable. And when they fail, then they will get institutions like EFCC, ICPC in Nigeria, which are agencies for enforcing, good manners, anti-corruption agencies. It is the pressure that the executive gets that it reflects on the populace, on the public servants and civil servants, those who actually in the midst or who facilitate the corruption. And those agencies will now work.
Right.
So you want to ask me, what does it start with? The thing I've always said is, if God can give Africa, Nigeria, in one good man who says, look, enough is enough. We must change this thing. If we can get one good man, one in any nation,
Right.
it's either he survives or they kill him. But he must be prepared to die. If you are prepared to die, because I know I ran for, I don't know whether you know that,
Yes.
but I ran for office at some point.
I know it.
And I written my will, and I told my family, if I get into this, if I come back, fine. If I don't come back,
Right.
take
You
it.
were
Because
prepared to
my
risk
first
that.
100 days of governance of any nation, the story will change. And I'm going for broke.
Right.
Because I do not underestimate the challenge in cleaning up corruption. It's not a
not
small boy
easy,
game,
right.
but you must know what you. It's like going to war.
Right.
When you're going to war, you either live and achieve, or you die,
Right.
and then at least you have died honorably.
Now, talking about being ready to run the risk,
Yeah, pay the price.
pay the price.
Yes.
In Ghana, the current president,
Yeah.
His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, when coming into office, spoke extensively about tackling corruption.
Yeah.
He's got a legal background.
Yeah.
He set up the office of the special prosecutor.
Yeah.
In spite of all these, now, a few months to our general elections, he's still tagged, and his administration is still tagged for being very high as it pertains to corruption.
Yeah.
Is it possible, or do some of the systems and poor institutions almost trap these leaders who initially set out to be anti-corruptible and to wipe away corruption?
Yes, because you see, I keep quoting what I quoted. The Bible says, "He who stands, be careful lest you fall,
Right.
or he who thinks he stands." Anybody can be corrupted. Anybody, any human body can be corrupted. What helps you to fight corruptions are three things. Number one, your spiritual strength. That's the foundation. Your moral background and the consequences of corruption.
Corruption. Right.
What will be the consequence? Because somebody will catch you and you go to jail. Somebody will expose you, you lose your reputation. So if you have no moral background, you come from a poor moral background, you don't have spiritual strength, and nobody is restraining you, my
right.
friend, you will be corrupt. It is as sure as dying. One day, everybody will die one day. It's one thing that is certain. I mean, there's no argument about it there.
Certainly.
Somebody will die one day. So will you be corrupt if you have not so people go, they have moral strength,
Compass, yes.
they have spiritual strength.
Right.
That carries them to a point. If there's no restraint, if there's no external supervisor,
Right.
if there's no external consequence, Satan, who is against good morality, who is against good principles, who is against spirituality, will defeat them.
Right.
Because it's a war against good and evil.
Right.
So what people like any president who wants to fight this war, first you must do what they did in what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore.
Right. Right.
He got a group of people and they swore an oath. We either die or we live. Anybody that does anything that does not fit, we throw him into the water.
Right.
So that group, that gang must commit, because one man may be difficult to do it. So one man starts it, but he recruits his like,
Right.
infuses them, tell them what the honor will be
Right.
if they achieve this goal. The honor will be better than all the little things they're going to pick, buy new cars, but they will have honor that will keep their families
Right.
in wealth. The reputational wealth they will have is immeasurable.
Right.
So that is the issue. And tying your hand, you saw what I was saying there.
Right.
You get into a business. Where would the temptation come? In awarding contract, I will not award contract. You set up an institution to award
To
contract.
award contracts.
You will open accounts in a commercial bank and save money that is government, because somebody from commercial bank is going to come and say, we'll give government 5%, keep 2% for
right.
it. All manner of suggestion. We'll take that away. The moment you do all that, you say, we're not going to bribe anybody, and you make it clear, you announce it, so that if you go against it, someone say,
We'll hold you accountable,
but
right.
when we don't say what we believe, we don't start set it out, the system will consume you.
Right.
Corruption is an institution, and so nobody should think it's something you do by wishing. No, it will destroy you. That's why you must be prepared to live or die. Me, if I became president, if I don't die in the first 100 days, I was going to survive. But I'm going to do earth-shaking
Right.
things. That if you wake up one day, say a new thing, wake up the next day, say a new thing, for 100 days. The country either changes or I change.
Or you change. Now, just to clarify, I know that you sought political office at some point. Do you have any plans of doing so again?
No. I had no plan. It was rough and tumble.
But you said we need one man
Yeah, if I showed myself, but I wasn't the man anybody was willing to invest on because of African politics, Nigerian politics is monetized.
I do know that.
If you don't have money, when I entered politics, I knew that in Africa or in Nigeria, there were three things that affected political selection. One is your ethnicity, second is your religion, the third is money. I came thinking that this, I didn't ignore that this existed, but I brought three, which I thought probably could moderate this, which is one, competence, capacity, and character. Competence, character. I thought that these three can dilute this or overwhelm some of this. But at the end of the exercise, I came out with one conclusion. Now, when there's enough money, everything else, religion, ethnicity will fail. Money is the central defining character. The person who won primary in my party was the person who gave the biggest money to the delegates. In all other parties, the same. The person who won Nigerian election at every level, state level, or who had more money. It was only one exception. One exception was that there were people who rode on the back of what they called the obedient movement. There was this obedient fervor. So some people, young people wanted change. They were not willing to subject themselves to some of these shenanigans. So they were willing to vote. So some people took advantage and entered into some positions on the Labour Party, and they crossed over without spending that much money. Yeah. Those are the exceptions.
Those are the exceptions. Interesting. Now, August 1 marks a protest in Nigeria where young people are protesting what they're not pleased with, both politically, economically, and so on. How can African leaders better tackle unemployment and foster sustainable economic development across the continent?
First is to, when they are talking about this protest, and government is saying have patience. We have given money for scholarship. We have given money to this organization. Your own money is coming. I say these guys, you didn't know what the people are talking about. It's not about that we have not gotten money. It's not even about hunger. Truly, this protest, the way I read it, is not even about no job. It is simply that it is against a government that is disconnected from the people it's governing. A government that has no empathy. A government that says tie your belts, tighten your stomach, and they're losing theirs. A government that has failed to show any evidence that this country has economic problem. This government has the largest government bureaucracy we have ever seen. 30 ministers, or how many? No, 40 or 50 ministers. 50 ministers. Today, there are only 50 ministers. The constitution allows 36.
So they've exceeded the number.
Yeah, the constitution there should be one minister for a state. So that is 6 days. But some governments, the highest we have had was 42, 41, 42. So it has 50. Each with paraphernalia of office. Does that show that you are ready to cut costs? A country that they bought 406 SUVs for the National Assembly, some 150 million naira, some 100 million for
vehicles.
A country that is buying for the office of the First Lady, office of the Second Lady, office of the Third Lady. A country that is using 21 billion naira to refurbish an existing house of a vice president. Tell me how many companies? 21 billion can start 21 companies. Manufacturing 1 billion naira. Today, 1 billion can start a manufacturing company. 1 billion will give 21 where you employ
to create employment. Right.
That is what the people in my own are protesting again. It is not, it's that these people have refused to show that they are part of this system, that they know what is going on. They're asking us to do something and they are doing other things. I've said if this president or this government in Nigeria tomorrow announces I'm reducing my ministers, I am setting just like what Ruto did.
Exactly.
You see the temperature will come down. The government, I was watching the president of the Senate, his convoy with outriders just going to work. You thought as an imperial majesty from the United States of America, companies that have money, of course, coming. Ordinary, I'm like to say ordinary Senate president, just a senator, just one amongst the other. He comes like an imperial leader and flourishes it. And Ghana, there was an official video more or less, because the video was, I saw it everywhere. And you think that the people are idiots? That's what I think they are protesting.
Right.
It is
An
not
abuse of office.
abuse of office, lack of accountability,
accountability.
lack of empathy.
Right.
You know, high cost of governance. That they see that they are in a different economy. You are in a different economy. That's the issue. Any
So you
African
think-
nation, any African leader that cuts expenditure, that scales back, that treats himself as part of the people, not different from the people, that comes down to the level of the people, meets with the people, discusses with the people, call the youth, call the people, call the workers, go to them and discuss with them. That country will have peace.
You're citing Ruto,
They'll have
for
peace.
instance. So
yeah,
you
Ruto
say
started
cutting
late,
down, but he did it all the same.
Yeah, at least he's doing it.
Cutting down on ministers and what
Every
else? What do you think the
cost of
solution will be
governance.
in Nigeria currently?
Today, if you cut of governance, you see, the problem that the policies government has taken are policies which me believe that in the long run will yield positive results. Me, that's my belief. Some people may disagree, but I believe so. However, they implemented these policies without adequate planning for the repercussions. Okay? So now that it has happened this way, you bring yourself down and be with for example, if I were the president, I would say, look, I'm going to lead the protest. Me, I'm going to be the first person in the protest. Can you imagine the president does on that day appears at Ego Square and say, guys, let's protest. This country must change. What do you think will happen? What do you think the youth will do? It's just that we don't understand the psychology of
the people,
of how to deal with people. The president says, in this protest, I'm the one leading it. We must work together to change this country. I need to talk with you guys. How do we change things? You call a conference. You all of they can be televised. Where the president is leading, the whole country will just shift.
Basically.
Just by that, you've come to their level. You're even showing empathy. Because you are acting as if the guys are crazy. Everybody.
And they need.
I know what is pushing me. You are telling me it is this man that is pushing me. It is you that is pushing me. So I have no thinking. I cannot act independently. You insult. You put injury into insult.
Interesting. Now, in rounding up, you were a victim you felt the brunt of the Biafra war. Yes, you're privy to developments and protests in Kenya, as you just highlighted. There's a thin line between protesting for improved governance and also compromising peace, which at the same time is necessary for political and economic growth. How do we ensure that such protests actually achieve the needed results in the long run?
The way protests achieve results, first of all, you can't eat an omelette without breaking it. There's no protest that will not involve dislocation of the peace. So it's utopia. Protest peacefully. Where is the profit? Where is this going to come from? You just minimize the damage. And the way to minimize the damage is to ensure that you do not inflate it. You don't have the conflagration. See, it is the place of government to protect
the citizen?
Protect those who are protesting. So you're saying it should not be infiltrated. Whose job is it to stop the place from infiltration? It's
your job.
That's why you have to put police to guide them.
Certainly.
So as they are marching, carrying their placard, if you see an infiltrator, you stop him. How can you put that work on the people who are protesting them? It's just that you are making them look like you have no empathy. You don't agree with them. They are troublemakers. So you inflate it. Otherwise, every protest will create some dissonance. It's absorbing that dissonance. Because, look, today, I was telling some people, I mentioned it there. There was an announcement that the federal government yesterday said they will start selling crude to Dangote.
Okay.
And they will sell the crude to Naira. I say, how did this come about? This was Dangote 3 was on the media,
Right.
complaining that the government doesn't want to sell, they want to kill this refinery.
Yeah.
Now, how did the right response come? Dangote's protest brought the response.
Right.
If he did not protest, Dangote refinery maybe would be dead. I'm sorry.
Right.
Because they were already about to kill it. They said they won't give him crude. They're accusing him that he's producing inferior
Right.
product. I don't know.
So we felt that were intentional measures to kill the refinery.
We saw it coming.
Right.
Dangote himself shouted.
Right.
Unlike him, he went to the media. What is the response today? Government is doing something
About
to appease him.
Yeah.
That's what protest is all about. That's the success of a protest.
Right.
The success of a protest is not to overthrow a government. If you want to throw a government, go and do a coup.
Right.
It's not the protest. But protest puts pressure of accountability on the government to prove. If the people say they are hungry, then make sure you have evidence to show that there is enough food.
Right.
If they say there is high cost of governance, you bring down cost of governance and show them.
Absolutely. So it is necessary. It's a necessary agitation.
I have nothing against protest. Because without protest, there will be no advance.
Right.
Because if everybody is quiet, you think everybody is happy. When people are not happy, then you want them to so as to clap for you, and they become numb.
Right.
I do not support violence, but every protest will cause some destabilization of peace. For example, when people are marching on the road,
Right.
it will disrupt the people who are moving in other direction. It's a natural concern. If you want them to march and traffic will flow properly, it is utopia.
You have to pick one over the other.
Yes, that's as I say, you want to eat an egg, you must break the omelette.
Right.
If we want change, we must inconvenience ourselves for a day or two, and that change will come. And what is embarrassing me is that even labor leaders are talking against the protest. Religious leaders, all manner of people are against the protest. These are people who are suffering, who will benefit from the response of this protest. Are the same one who oppose it because they have been compromised. It's a shame for this country and for Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much.